Hello everybody, and welcome back to Generation Jumbo! Now, today we're going over round 2 highlights. Before we do that, there's a little more about the meta I can explain to you about. Volbeat is not one of them. It's a joke Pokemon that we included, and if I'm being honest with you, this is probably going to be the last joke Pokemon we add for a while. Because I really am starting to realize just how useless they kind of are. And it's not even that funny. Much better off just going over a regular mon. You can actually use in a tournament and have fun with. But still, it's funny like Volbeat's here. It has been seeing some play in Losers Bracket. Granted, mostly as a joke, but that's still more than what Camerup's getting. So that's something. With Tail Glow, Thunder, yes, Volbeat's so weak, you need to use Thunder. Ice Punch and Thunder Wave, it has enough to where it can maybe 4-hit KO something at max special. Maybe 3-hit KO Starmie with Thunder. It's absolutely not good. But speaking of the opposite of just not good, we have Raichu, which I talked about a lot yesterday, but I just want to bring up that Cyber DJ is actually a big, contender, or not a big contender. He's not much of an opponent, but he really thinks that Alolan Raichu is kind of overrated. I don't know about that. I think I'm much more in the line with Riscato, where I feel like it's being underutilized. But even with Riscato's take, I don't completely agree with it either, because I still think Alolan Raichu is the best lead in the game, even if it could be better as a mid-game cleaner. But it's whatever. I will say though that I wouldn't be surprised if Raichu fell off near the latter half of the tournament, just because most people are expecting it. But even then, how do you really prepare for an Alolan Raichu lead? What really counters it? A ground type? Sure. But those are bad for every other lead? I can't think of anything. But before we go over some of the replays, and by the way, we'll also go over a little bit of Losers Bracket as well. Just for a little bit of fun, a Losers Bracket will have its own set of videos, including probably a lot of live commentary ones. But I want to talk about some of the regular RBY Pokemon, because it's not just new Pokemon that are interesting to talk about. Sometimes new Pokemon get a niche, or they get significantly worse. Such as Victory Bell. Victory Bell, unsurprisingly, has gotten better. And that's because, with the way more grass and ground types, Victory Bell just has more targets. And what's even better is that 2 of the ground types, Palisand and Gastrodon, are amnesia setters. And Gastrodon is just a full-on, a quad weak the grass Pokemon. So Victory Bell, having that alone is already great, but being able to trap things and even put things to sleep, Victory Bell has a lot of things going for it that it normally wouldn't have in Generation 1 overuse. In fact, I might even make the claim that Victory Bell is better than Ludicolo. That might be a big stretch, especially since Ludicolo absolutely is seeing more play. But I don't know. Looking at it here, I just think Victory Bell has more to offer. You'll have too many partial trappers. I'm pretty sure... okay, maybe its Razor Leaf doesn't hit harder, but it doesn't really matter. Because you still have Stun Spore, Sweep Powder, and Wrap. So along with being able to threaten, the ground types, you can just do a lot of other things that benefit your team, which is pretty great. However, it is definitely not the best grass type in the format. It's Executor. By far. I don't think anyone's too surprised to hear that. But what I do think is surprising is the fact that Executor here has been kind of changing. I've been seeing rest on so many different Executor sets. I guess because of how bulky Executor is, and with water types, grass types, electric types all in the format, Executor needs to come in and be used as a, a bulky Pokemon way more often. So because of that, you actually want to use Rest outside of another status move or a physical move, because Executor's gonna need to be switching out a lot. So you actually need the extra points, to heal, which is, I guess it makes sense. Although I will say, I have also seen a lot of Double Edge, but that's mainly for Alolan Raichu, since Alolan Raichu, as you can tell, has very low defense, meaning Double Edge does a good amount of damage to it. I'm pretty sure it does more than Chansey gets hit by Double Edge itself, but I don't know. I have done the calc. But it doesn't matter. Because like Exeggutor, I would say is probably the 4th best Pokemon. Like just in the format in general. And after that, it's one of the new Pokemon. But don't get me wrong, Starmie's still really good. And the electric types hasn't really damaged it that much. Though to be fair, if Regieleki and Sceptile with Leaf Blade didn't do much to hurt Starmie in Season 1, I don't think anything's gonna really top Starmie. That'd be really hard to do. But Starmie just has the generic good stuff that you know it for. Wizard, Psychic, you almost never see Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt and Starmie is just very, very bad. Because the Starmie mirror is actually very uncommon now. Granted, I know one replay that like you see live commentary for in the future, where having Thunderbolt and Starmie could have been handy, but for the most part, it's just kind of bad. Because Starmie isn't even like a big Pokemon you need to watch out for. It's just really good. And Psychic, Wizard, and even Surf is better. And I have seen a good amount of Surf. 1, because its stab is super effective against Palossand. 2, when it gets the crit, it hits harder than Gastrodon than Blizzard would do. And 3, speaking of Gastrodon, considering a lot of times Gastrodon will have max special, it can end up being a big threat, and you don't always have Victory Bell or Ludicolo to help you. And Starmie is usually your best bet towards a Gastrodon, because you can always recover off the damage for Earthquake, and then it just depends on what special move it's using. If it's using Ice Beam, you can recover off that with, recover. As long as you don't get frozen, should be fine. Wizard's a lot scarier, but there's also less power points, so you could be able to sell that as well. The worst thing for it to be could be Surf. If that's the case, you might not survive. But then again, that's also just more water resist in that case. So overall, Starmie's doing really good. But I feel like it's just not as, omnipresent as it would be in regular RBY. The last Pokemon I want to go over is Rhydon, who has seen a little bit of play, but is by far the worst Pokemon in the original, RBY that's definitely dropping down the underuse. It struggles so much. You hate to see it, but with so many water and grass types, there's no doubt that Rhydon is going to suffer. But the main problem is that Palossand is just infinitely better. If you want a normal resist, why would you need that when you have a normal immunity? Palossand has Amnesia, which can help it against not the auto critters, but against every other special attacker if need be. Not to which has Hypnosis, and has Rapid Recovery, none of which Rhydon has. For Christ's sake, its move pool usually has it use Leer, just because, why would you need Rock Slide? There's not much it's going to do it against. So that's unfortunate for Rhydon, but Rhydon has always, exceeded expectations for the past 2 seasons, so I feel like it's fine to give him a rest. He's probably gonna have a rest next season as well for Generation Jumble Season 4, because there's gonna be things like Kyogre and Swampert in the format, and also Sceptile is coming back. But that's fine, you don't always need Rhydon allowed. And to be honest, what we have here is pretty good. I forgot to open the link for the brackets, but before I do that, I just want to remind you guys to join the Discord server, because with all these replays I'm going to be showing you, every single one of them will be seen here. So you can, also just be, caught up way ahead. Not to mention we have live battles. So, for a lot of these, you can actually just watch them live. For me personally, I always post all of my links in live battles. And trust me, it is way more hype once you get to see it live. Also, in Generation Jumble replays, you have the link to the brackets. You can always find it here. So feel free to join. Not to mention now, whenever, you join the server, if you're interested, you will be automatically put as a reserve. So yeah, join. Because you might be able to play. Now, before I look into some of the highlights, let's see what some of the council members have to say. Last Jumble video, I had Sotina and Zach and Theus give their thoughts. So let's see what Cyber DJ and our newest council member Plausible have to say. Alright, let's do this. Overall, Season 2 has been a mixed bag of highs for me. On one hand, Season 3 went over much more smoothly. Oh no, he meant to say Season 2. Went over much more smoothly in Season 3. On the other hand, the meta, though good, left me a little disappointed. The Amnesiacs of Grounds of Season 3 have been a painful duo to play and build around, often forcing me to pick less desirable choices to beat them, or attempt to fish for critical hits. Everything else has remained largely expected. I was consistently surprised by how the Pokemon RBY in Season 3 have fared, with many exceeding my expectations. As a whole, the meta has felt rather stable in recent times, with a solid balance of old and new being used to great lengths. Even for the less consistent picks like Camerupt and Will and Eggy, all of this combined means that while this season wasn't as fun for me personally, it's objectively superior to Season 2 in almost every aspect, so I can't fault it much. Here's to all the future Jumbles being goated, and I hope you put us in the same bracket in Season 4. Oh god. Oh no. Facing Cyber DJ round 1, that's a big no-no. Also, for those of you who are wondering what he's talking about, my brackets are not random. That's because in Season 2, we had huge issues of people having to play games 12 hours apart. And currently in Season 3, we're also experiencing that in the losers bracket. So that's why, at least for the first few rounds, I try to pair it to where it's with everyone in the same time zones, or people who are very flexible. Like me and Sotina, for example, we're very flexible, so we can pretty much face anyone in any time zone. So yeah, Cyber DJ fighting him round 1. That is such a good idea. I'm going to think about it for like, literally forever. P.S. Thanks for hosting this server for us and all. It's a huge pleasure being here in the domain. Thank you, Cyber. I really appreciate it. I like it too. I also like having my council members just give me their thoughts. It makes me feel like this whole thing is way more professional than it actually is. So that's nice. Now let's see what Plausible has to say. He is our newest council member, and I don't actually know if he's really said anything to you guys yet. I don't think so. I think every time I tried to make a video with him, it just didn't work out, or people just weren't available. But that's fine. You're gonna see a lot more of him in the future. And at the moment, I have one of his matches recorded. Once I catch up in losers bracket, I'll post it. So that should be fun because I interviewed him and his opponent immediately afterwards. But for now, let's see what Plausible has to say. Here are my thoughts on Season 3. I don't know much about Season 1's meta outside of people praising it a lot, but I have done matches in both the Season 2 and 3 formats. Between Seasons 2 and 3, I have to say Season 3 is my favorite by a considerable margin. Season 2 felt a lot more chaotic, whereas Season 3 has lived up to be its show vibe promised by its title, Summertime 11. Season 3 provides rather notable changes to RBY OU meta with its roster. Some are less impactful than others. Sorry, Alolan, Eggy, and Volbeat. But I'm happy to say that I've seen people use all of the new picks at least a couple times. There were also fears over Tapu Koko centralizing the meta at first, but the quick ban after some concerns were cited improved the meta's optics marketably. The most frequently used of the new additions would have to be Alolan Raichu, Palisand, and Gashadon. Alolan Raichu is good for many reasons. The fact that its Surf can guaranteed Oko Rhydon compared to the Dropper Kitoni Raichu being one of them, including its electric psychic dual typing of two good types, rather solid move pool, and its ability to act as a reliable lead. Gashadon and Palisand tend to fulfill similar niches to defensive amnesia mons with reliable recovery, though they can both run other sets and still be viable. These two are undoubtedly the big winners of the format. Despite this, many other additions have solid niches too. Woody Koa acts as a strong check to our amnesia spammers and has other merits. Vanillex's Blizzard is one of the strongest special attacks, plus it has a boom for equal power to Kitoni and Eggy. Salzbug has been found to be a decent Anti-Weed with its Hyper Beam, Sword Dance, Thunderwave, Horn Reach set, putting immense pressure on many of the usual beats, and so on. As Sotina said, this is definitely a format where the big three is still very good for team building. However, I have seen teams drop Snorlax or on occasion Chansey and still have worked. I say that entertaining the thought of teams without one of the big three is a more realistic thought in this meta than vanilla RBYOU. Outside of Tapu Koko, the new additions feel like they enhance the diversity of RBYOU without losing the charm that defines its competitive play. I really like Season 3. It may not have received the same amount of attention as Season 2 initially did, for better and for worse. It definitely feels like a refinement of what Generation Jumble desires compared to Season 2, and some of the quirks that I have heard about Season 1. I imagine the commentary or the community will become more. I cannot read. I'm sorry, guys. And just of how Theory Cup time goes on. So yeah, Season 3 is really cool. I'm sorry I cannot read that or Cyber DJs. I am just really bad at reading. But thank you for your take, Pause. For you and Cyber, Let me look at Cyber's again. I'll go over what he said first. So like Cyber, I guess I can see where Cyber's coming from. I can see how like amnesia mirrors aren't like the most fun thing in the world, but I personally don't mind it that much. I still think it's been kind of fun, but maybe it's just because I just have a lot of fun with Gastronas in particular. It's literally one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. But that's just me. I can definitely see how it's not the most desirable thing in the world. And like I can see like some people like being discouraged by that, but I personally always liked it. As for Plus, yeah, there's a lot to go over here, but almost all of this is basically just the way I feel. Season 3 definitely feels like it's like regular RBY, but now with Tapu Koko gone, it's just adding some new things to really spice up the meta, and I like that. And I guess that is kind of how I always pictured season, or like any season in Generation Jumble to be like. Some of which, like Season 2, I intended to try to fundamentally change how like the tier is formed, but that was definitely a big failure. That sucks, but I still think Season 3 is my favorite of the season so far. And this might be a hot take, but I still like Season 2 more. That's just because I think the roster for Season 1 is a little bit too random, and I just don't enjoy that as much. But that's just my 2 cents. Now it's time to start going into some of these replays. Now, we're going to have some highlights, but there are 2 matches I want to show you the full thing for. And that's going to be me versus Shelly, and Sotina versus Cyber DJ. Now for Shelly, here's what you gotta know. He faced Myrox in Season 1, or no, Round 1. Not to mention Shelly, me, Sotina, Myrox, and my brother Convex were like literally best friends, and we play Yu-Gi-Oh with each other literally every night. So we're always joking around, bullying each other. And there's another thing. Shelly, how do I say this? He runs the account for Grabback Out of Context on Twitter. Which, by the way, you should definitely follow me on Twitter and the Grabback On Context account. Well, he made a meme putting my IRL face in a fucking jar. So I told Shelly I was going to absolutely destroy him. And he thought I was joking. But I kept on telling him I was going to beat him with a team of 5 normals and a Charizard. Alright, let's get on to this. So anyways, we Kangaskhan. How are you guys doing today? So like after they went into Kangaskhan, I was in a bit of a pickle, so I immediately went to Dodrio, intending for it to be a sweep sack. I go back into Dodrio, but they explode. I'll definitely take the trade. They switch into Saucepug, I go into Persian. Persian hits very hard with Slash. I don't care too much about what they're doing, because I feel like I can just take this on. So, fully paralyzed, that's unfortunate. They go for another Sword Stance, kind of getting greedy. I can pretty much guarantee a revenge kill whatever like gets taken out next. So I go into Tauros. Tauros obviously can take that on. This is, luckily it's Thunderbolt Tauros, so Cloyster can't do much to me. They miss Blizzard. They go on the Gastrodon. Eats that up, unfortunately. I just stay in, go for Body Slam, get the Paralysis. They're fully paralyzed. I keep going for it. If I go for Hyper Beam, it will kill. But they switch because they're a coward. Hyper Beam does not get the kill there. They go for Body Slam. I need to recharge, but this is still fine. Hyper Beam does not kill. I go for another Body Slam. Get the crit. Kills their Tauros. They go in the Snorlax. I use Body Slam. Maybe should have gone for Hyper Beam, but that doesn't matter too much. Tauros is taken out. I go in the Charizard. Fire Blast, if it gets the burn, will completely cripple the Snorlax. And there is the burn. They had Rock Slide, but Charizard tanked it easily. Which is a weird sentence I did not think I would say. They rest. Unfortunate. They go into Stossbug, which Kangaskhan takes pretty easily. They go back into the Gastrodon, but Hyper Beam does get the kill. I don't think the crit mattered there. They go in the Cloyster. I go for Body Slam. Probably should have gone for Hyper Beam there, because that could have gone really badly for me if Cloyster went for Rest. But that's taken out. All they have left is Snorlax, and I have 3 Pokemon. So I feel very confident in this finishing this off. So yeah, like, you put, like, this, let this be a lesson to you. Put me in a jar, and I will do everything I can to humiliate you. There's Chansey. I have Chansey paralyzed the Snorlax. They're fully paralyzed. I go for Ice Beam, getting the crit. You know, we take those. Hyper Beam kills. I go into Charizard, going for Slash, which is enough to kill. Also, ignore, like, all this text here. Shelly was definitely, he definitely did not have a problem. He was like, oh yeah, this was a great match. I love you, Grandback. And I was like, I know you do. I'm like literally your stepfather. Alright, round 2. I go with lead Chansey this time, because I felt like I was just losing too much from having Kangaskhan as the lead, considering they're most likely going to go for Gengar again. I go into Dodrio. This time, it is the Sleep Sack. Go into Kangaskhan, because this thing has Earthquake, so I know I can take on this Gengar pretty easily. There's Cloyster. I go for a Body Slam. Don't get the Paralysis, unfortunately. Go for another Body Slam. I finally do get the Paralysis. Blizzard misses. That's nice. Go for Hyper Beam. Doesn't get the kill. They go for Rest. Kangaskhan needs to recharge. They go into Sawsbuck. They go for Double Edge. That gets the crit. It definitely mattered. In comes Charizard. I assumed they were going to switch. Someone for Fire Spin. Didn't end up working out, but there's another Fire Spin. It missed, unfortunately. Go for another one, and now I can pivot. But now with no Earthquake user, Gengar is a lot more annoying. Though to be fair, it is paralyzed. It's unmanageable. Ice Beam does nothing to Gastrodon. I'm forced to switch into Persian. Gets hit with an Earthquake. That does about a third. They go into Gengar. Persian cannot hurt Gengar whatsoever. I go into Chansey. They go for Psychic. Gets the Special Drop, which, you know, that makes things very easy. It doesn't really. I go back into Persian because I really don't know what to do at this moment. Go back into Chansey. I get it with a crit. You hate to see it with no Special Drop. Ice Beam misses, but Gengar's fully paralyzed, so it's not the biggest thing in the world. I can heal. There's Explosion getting the crit. Glad Gengar's out of the way, but now I lost my Chansey, so this becomes a lot harder. Fire Blast gets the kill on Sawsbuck. I had a feeling it was gonna stay in. There's Gastrodon. I missed the Fire Spin. They go for Amnesia. Holy crap, this is looking really bad. I have to switch. So I go in the Persian. Hopefully I can just put this into a range where Tauros can kill it. There's Ice Beam. That gets the kill because Persian's not really that strong. I go for Hyper Beam. They have Cloyster, but like I said in the past, this thing has Thunderbolt. So I feel pretty fine here. But they go into Snorlax instead, which I wasn't expecting, but that makes things really difficult. I go for Body Slam. They go for Body Slam. They're probably going to win this exchange, but they go back into Cloyster. So they go into Gastrodon. I go for Thunderbolt. They eat that up pretty easily. Hyper Beam does kill the Gastrodon though. They go into their own Tauros, and now it's a Tauros mirror that I don't feel good about winning. The crit definitely makes me feel good, but they win the speed tie. Tauros gets taken out. Dodrio is still asleep, so this is just bad at the worst. Dodrio gets 2 KO'd by Blizzard, so Dodrio is now dead. All I have left is Charizard. And yeah, I am probably not winning a 3v1. Especially not after Fire Blast misses. And there's the crit which kills Charizard. Shelly won game 2. Round EV Boo, since you're screwing with Shelly, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. Now, forgive me for being a bit of a loser, but I was now getting concerned that, like, I was gonna lose, because Shelly was actually putting up a pretty good fight. And you saw Mike there with the Gastrodon. He knows how to pivot. So that's why I used a real team for the final match. But don't worry, because Shelly himself did bring a superstar. That's right, they're super. So with lead Raichu, I go and I paralyze the Executor. I get put to sleep, but I do not care. Executor can't really hurt Raichu without Double Edge. They go into Tauros, I go into Cloyster. But unlike my Tauros, I'm very confident this one does not have, what's it called? Thunderbolt, and it didn't. I got a free Blizzard in, we take those. They called my switch in, they went for Surf. There goes Executor. I feel like I can stay in on this, so I just go for Blizzard immediately. They're fully paralyzed. I switch in the Cloyster predicting an explosion. Doesn't get it, instead there's a Mega Drain which hits for pretty good damage. Blizzard I know would hit really hard, so I don't switch out. There's Tapu Fini. I go into my own Executor. Even with the white screen, I couldn't really care less about this. The Blizzard I do care about. But with Sweet Powder, I am able to do this to no profit. I go into Raichu, hoping to wake up first. Always get a free turn of Burning Sweep. There's Tauros. I go back into Cloyster, but unfortunately Cloyster is way too low. It just won't get much accomplished here, especially not with that crit Hyper Beam. Go into Zapdos. It's like my only real thing to take on the Tauros 1v1. Don't feel great about it. But Zapdos gets some good damage on Snorlax. But once again, he's still using Rock Slide on Snorlax for some reason. I switch into Gastrodon, but he calls that. I get hit with a Body Slam. But luckily, I survived that. He goes for Hyper Beam. I go for Recover. They need a Recharge. I heal. They go for Body Slam again. But even if I get paralyzed, I don't feel that bad about it. There's Blizzard. Hits really hard. But now I'm paralyzed, so I need to do something. I heal. They hit Hyper Beam. I can survive that. I heal again. They need a recharge. I can hit with a Blizzard, which will kill them. And now there's not much I can really hurt Gastrodon. They go back into Tapu Fini. I go into Raichu because I just figured it'll be easier just to get Burn Sweep turns. A Raichu is still not waking up though. There's Hydro Pump, gets a crit, doesn't kill but gets close to it. I switch to Executor, eats the Hydro Pump easily. They stay in, and I just went for Sweet Powder, which manages to hit. They switch into Raichu, I switch into my Zapdos. Go back into Raichu just as a pivot. Might as well, not much you can really do with Raichu at this point. That gets taken out, I go in the Gastrodon. They have Psychic, which could be dangerous as you can see there. But Earthquake does kill the Raichu, but I'm not feeling very good about this. There goes Beedrill. Beedrill with the Mega Drain killing the Gastrodon. There's Zapdos. For some reason they feel like they need to switch. I get a free agility off. Executor stays in. And they go for Sweet Powder. That really sucks. Like a lot. They blow up. They're taken out. I go into Tauros. Tauros Mirror. I feel really bad about this suddenly. But luckily a critical Body Slam keeps me in the game. And I win the Speed tie, so I'll take out the Tauros. There goes Tapu Fini. I switch to Executor. I think I'll go for Explosion here. If I remember correctly. No, I'll just go for Psychic. That's fine too. And then I go for Explosion, yeah. And finally, it's just Tauros versus Beedrill. I'm very scared I'm going to lose this, but luckily, a critical Body Slam gives me the kill. Yeah. That was definitely something. Also, like, Cyber DJ saying the fact you almost lost is bullshit. But I don't know what you're talking about. That game was not close at all. I was in control the entire time. So yeah, I almost fucked up. Yeah, that was kind of funny. But I'm still alive. That's all that matters. You should just respect Groundback for getting critical Body Slams on Tauros when he really needs it. Because you know why I do that? It's because I'm just all around a really great guy, and I deserve respect. Don't you guys think? I think so too. Now next up we have Cyber DJ versus Sotina. Now these two are council members, and both of them are just genuinely really strong opponents. What I think I remember is, Cyber DJ went to Losers Bracket in Season 1, but managed to beat everyone there, eventually making it to the Grand Finals, and in Season 2 he dominated. Not only did he win the tournament that, won basically the season, but the second tournament that happened in the server, but all videos are made for, he ended up winning that too, beating Silver Nugget in a very decisive, 3-0. It was impressive. So Tina, on the other hand, she's definitely not a bad player, far from it, but for both of her tournaments, she only managed to make it to the halfway point. So now that you have two very experienced council members, both of which are very strong going at each other, which one's going to win? Only one way to find out. By the way, subscribe to the channel if you like the format, comment if you think there's anything else you'd like me to talk about, and join the server yourself. Alright, let's see this. Weed Jinx versus Weed Gengar. Gengar puts Jinx to sleep. A great start, I would say. Unfortunately, looks like you're going for Psychic. It doesn't do that much damage, but luckily a critical Thunderbolt does more than enough to make up for that. You're going to Snorlax, which heavily implies it's probably an Amnesia or a Earthquake set. It's Earthquake. There's Gashion. Gashion, especially with that special drop, can take on the Snorlax even more when the Gashion is frozen. You go into your own Gashion, pink versus blue, very intimidating. Gashion heals. They go back in the Gengar. Gengar going for a critical explosion, taking out the Chansey. This is looking terrible if you're or you're Sotina. There's Venusaur, but interesting when you switch out. Wizard does nothing to Chansey. You go in the Gashion, and Chansey just goes under a Seismic Toss. So Starmie is honestly, it's technically still winnable for Sotina, although it will be very, very hard. You go back into Gashion on mirrors. This is annoying. You just go straight for Surf. You don't even bother going for Amnesia. Definitely gives Cyber a bit of an edge, but they're probably going for Recover right here anyways, so you're most likely fine. Earthquake will force Sotina to recover. You go for Surf, gain some damage in. You go for Recover. Venusaur will force you to switch out. You go into your Tauros. Razor Leaf would do good damage here. That's a 3-hit KO. You go straight for Body Slam, which I think was definitely the right call. You get a critical hit on the Gashion, helping you tremendously. Going for Earthquake hits for anything funny. Tauros Mirror, you don't feel very good about that because you're almost dead. Going for the Blitz to try to get the freeze, you don't get it, unfortunately. So now you go in Starmie. You have the Paralyze, you do, even if you're certain they're going to go in the Chansey. At the very least, Gashion's looking pretty good here. They're going to switch into Venusaur most likely, but they stay in. Starmie gets hit with a Seismic Toss. There's the Venusaur. You go for Recover. Psychic gets a crit, which you definitely needed. Holy shit. There's Tauros. You go for the Thunder Wave. Like I said, winnable. Very winnable. There's Psychic getting good damage in. Another full Paralysis. They're forced to switch into Chansey. Do you get the special drop? No, you don't, but it's fine. You have Gashion. You can eat up any Paralysis. You're now faster. You can recover. And now, with a Paralyzed Tauros, you can definitely win this 1v1. But with Harden, that makes it even better. Now there's truly nothing anything can do to stop you. You go for Harden again. Tauros is just not being able to kill you. There's Chansey. You go for Amnesia. You can probably beat this Chansey 1v1 now, especially with it being paralyzed. So to set up, what's going to really stop you? A freeze? Of course not, because Snorlax is frozen. Surf does a lot of damage there. So Chansey is most likely going to lose this. Which, that's what happens when you have a slug that can get harder somehow. Last Pokemon is Dugtrio, which is funny. Hyper Beam does nothing. You were trying to go for a crit. You didn't get it. There's Tauros. Surf kills you, which means Sotina wins Game 1. Now it's time for Game 2. Okay, Weak Gengar versus Weak Sawsbuck. Sawsbuck gets put to sleep. Thunder Wave is not going to be very useful now. You go into Snorlax, you get hit with Psychic, do you get the special drop? Yes, you do. But this is a physical Snorlax set, doesn't care that much. Go straight into Power Sand, but that's not worked out for you. You go for Psychic, trying to get a special drop. You don't get it, but they didn't get it either, so that's fair. Troll up, you heal up, you have Earthquake, but they're probably going to switch, but they didn't for some reason, which is very surprising. A critical Psychic will 2-hit KO Sawsbuck. You're forced to switch into Vanillux. They go into Gengar, you go for Light Screen. Vanillux feels pretty good against this Gengar now. Wizard will 2-hit KO it, or 3-hit KO it. You tried going for Light Screen again, which didn't work for some reason. Also, I apologize if I accidentally played this replay yesterday, but it's still a fun match, so I think it's still worth going over. There's Lapras again. Lapras will do a good chunk of damage to Snorlax. Body Slam does not too much, if I'm being honest here. But Santina does get the rest, so that's nice. Thunderbolt trying to predict something, but nothing really switched in. It's still just Snorlax. Chansey is here. You switch to your own Chansey. Let's just try to skip this real quick. Something interesting happens. There's Lapras again. Lapras gets a rest, which is nice. Snorlax here also gets for a rest, so they're both healing off. Which one will wake up first? Obviously Lapras gets us faster. But what happens next, you have to see. Wizard does good damage, no freeze. Body Slam hits, no paralysis. Another Blizzard, another Body Slam, and no paralysis just yet, but you're so scared. You go into Executor. Executor goes for Double Edge, predicting a switch into Chansey. Doesn't work. Now you just go for another Double Edge, but they're still not switching. You're taking so much recoil that you don't need to. In comes Palossand, you hit a Psychic finally. Another Psychic puts Palossand almost dead. Palossand has to switch. You decide to snag off your Sawsbuck, which unfortunately gets killed. They try predicting another Chansey switch, but still not happening. There's Snorlax, you go for Explosion. There's Lapras, there's Tauros. Hyper Beam does not kill actually. And Blizzard does a crap ton of damage here. Tauros is almost, no, it just is dead, 2-hit KO'd. Lapras gets the rest off. It's actually like pulling a lot of work in, like holy crap. There's Palossand, getting the healing in, but all you have is Chansey and Palossand, and it's actually gonna be really hard for like Tina to deal with this. Reflect Chansey makes it a lot easier, especially when you're like out of Blizzards. But Cyber still has 2 more Pokemon in the back, one of them being really cold with Sword Stance. So there is not much you can do here. You get paralyzed, but you have a lot of attacks still. Seismic Toss would do a decent chunk to you. You go for max attack. Now you get fully paralyzed. You don't get to see what it is, unfortunately. Another turn of full paralysis. That sucks. So they're taken out. Now you go for Chansey. You go for Seismic Toss. Decent damage, but it's just going to heal up. But your last Pokemon is Tauros, which can definitely deal with both this and Chansey. Palossand survives a critical Blizzard, however, but another Blizzard will take it out. Last is Chansey. You go into your own Chansey just to, like whittle down Chansey's resources. No reason why not to. So let's put this on fast forward for a little bit, because at this point we already know who wins. Overall, these 2 games have been very close so far. You love to see it. Glad I chose council members that know how to play the game. That's always appreciated. But there we go, Cyber wins game 2. And now it's time for the all-important game 3. Now this time we have Lead Chansey versus Lead Alakazam. You don't see Lead Alakazam that much, or Lead Chansey. Going into your own Chansey, you go into Snorlax. You go into your own Snorlax, it's a Snorlax mirror, but the moveset determines everything right now. And with Reflective Wax, it definitely seems like Cyber has the advantage. But oh no, Santina has Amnesia Wax. 2 Snorlaxes that can face each other on pretty easily, just depends on who sets up more. Ice Beam does decent damage, but not enough. Body Slam looks like it's going to kill Santina Snorlax, but it has rest. You rest up. You're healing. You go into Poliwrath. Still relevant, baby. Going for your own Amnesia. Snorlax wakes up. You go for Hypnosis, putting it to sleep. You go into Alakazam, even with the big special, you feel like you can probably crit through it, but unfortunately you get frozen. In comes Gastrodon, probably the only thing you can maybe take on this Poliwrath with, but as you can see, it's going to be very hard. This Blizzard hits really hard, but you don't have your own Amnesias up. But you go for Recover, there's still a chance. They go for Submission, it's going to do some decent chip damage there. Poliwrath recovers, and you're kind of forced to go for another Amnesia. They go for another Amnesia as well, so Poliwrath is just not going to do much here. Honestly, if I were Cyber, I would switch out. because I don't see how you really win this 1v1, especially since Alk isn't already frozen. There's no chance of a freeze. There's Surf doing nothing to the Poliwrath, to be fair. Gastrodon will get another recover in, and Gastrodon has no problem stalling out this Poliwrath. I would just... yeah, like, with Earthquake, you can do good damage as well. When they use Surf, they're trying to predict into a switch-in, I guess. So Poliwrath is still trying its best, though, but there's not much it can really do here. The only thing it can do is just stay there and try to soak up Surf, since Sotina keeps calling, like, you know, a switch-in. But it's only a matter of time before the Poliwrath gets taken out, such as there. Now you have Woody Koho. Now I'm not sure why you didn't just switch in the Woody Koho. Because once you saw what happened with Surf and Earthquake, wouldn't you feel like you could just switch in no matter what? I don't know, I think that's a big misplay on Cyber DJ's part. Back comes in Gastrodon. You go in the Woody Koho. You get a free recover in. I imagine you switch in the Chansey here. There's the Leech Seed. Leech Seed will get some healing in. You go into Snorlax. There's Body Slam. Sotina Snorlax still needs to wake up, but it's not doing that. You're forced to switch. Palossand eats the Body Slam very easily. You go into Chansey. You go for Psychic. No Special Drop, it looks like. Ice Beam hits pretty decently hard. You go for Amnesia, which definitely helps. You go for Shore Up here. You're forced to switch out. And unfortunately with Woody Koho, you're just in a lot of danger to grass types, so that sucks. There's Chansey going for a Soft Boiled. You go on the Gastrodon. Psychic will not get the special drop. There's Woody Koho again, going for Earthquake. It eats the Earthquake very easily. Back in the Chansey you go. Body Slam does not that much, in all honesty. There's Seismic Toss, which will do a good amount, but Leech Seed healing is very annoying. They go into Snorlax, you're fully paralyzed, and Snorlax even gets some healing in, which is very dangerous. They go into Gastrodon, and they eat the Earthquake very easily, get a recover off, there's Body Slam. Paralysis, doesn't look like it. Surf does somewhat decent damage, but not too great. Now that Gastrodon's paralyzed, that they were in range of Hyper Beam kill, but that didn't work out. So there's Chansey, eats the Razor Leaf. Cyber's in a very commanding position, but to be fair, Sotina has more Pokemon. Or maybe it shouldn't count, because one of them's frozen. So it's basically both Pokemon, or both trainers having 5 Pokemon. Still anyone's game. But Earthquake is definitely helping there. Psychic, no special drop, that's annoying. You get a free Shore Up. There's Chansey. You know Ice Beam's going to do a lot. They go in the Woody Koho. You go in the Chansey, switching, or predicting that. They go back in the Palossand. You go for a Seismic Toss. It's probably going to heal. You can just go into your own Palossand. And you could potentially do a Mirror here, or go straight into Psychic for a special drop. They go into Amnesia, which is not going to help too much here. You go back into Chansey, there's Razor Leaf, Chansey eats it easily. And it's a big, like, stalling match right now, which is unfortunate. But eventually someone has to break. You go into Palossand, Snorlax is forced to switch out. Do you go for Psychic? Yes, you do. Slowly but surely, this Woody Koho is getting chipped, which is very important. There's the Snorlax. It does not wake up yet, so Woody Koho does get some healing in, but it's not super big. There's another Body Slam, no crit, Chansey tanks it. Going in the Palossand, you heal, you take those. You go straight to your own Palossand, they go for Earthquake, you take it pretty easily. You go for Psychic again, no, you go for Earthquake. You're still getting decent chip in, so that's important. They go for Razor Leaf. No Leech Seed, which you definitely take. There's the Leech Seed, but it's fine, because now this Woody Koho is getting super low. Which means both Gastrodon and Palossand become a lot scarier. There's Snorlax, you switch into Chansey. They stayed in, they went for Ice Beam. Your Chansey eats it up easily. There's Snorlax, but with no, like... well, now that Gastrodon's healing, I mean, like, it's a lot better now. There's Palossand. Eats up the Earthquake very easily. But you're still going for it, but this is just helping Palossand. There's Psychic, Snorlax gets taken out. Woody Koho is here at low HP. In comes Tauros, you miss Razor Leaf. You go for Palossand. Calling the switch, you go for Blizzard. Now another Blizzard will kill. Chansey's forced to switch in. You go for Earthquake, you're just making all of the calls. Going into Zapdos, you miss Hyper Beam, which is definitely a blessing in disguise. In comes Palossand. Zapdos can't do anything to Palossand, you heal. And now you have, like, an entire team just to, like, waste resources against. You called them going for Leech Seed, you go straight into Tauros, and now there's truly nothing that can stop you. So Tina is in a very, very winnable position. There's Palisand, but again, it doesn't matter. Because Tauros is mostly healthy, and most of these Pokemon are exhausted, except for Zapdos. But that doesn't matter, because you have a Palisand, which can always beat the Zapdos 1v1. There's a crit, but even with crits, you always have Shore Up, so you're always in a good position. So you heal up, nothing's stopping you, and that Zapdos has lowered special. So there's truly nothing Cyber can do in this situation. You can keep going for Drill Packs, but it's just not gonna work. Eventually, Palisand will beat you. There's another crit, but who really cares at this point? Psychic does a lot of damage to Zapdos. You go in the Ludicolo, you heal. And now, like, you just kind of win. Go in the Tauros. Tauros eats the Razor Leaf, and now you can outspeed and kill everything, including the Zapdos. You go into Chansey, but Hyper Beam I'm pretty sure does kill here. Yes, it does. Last is the Zapdos, and Satina gets the kill without losing a single Pokemon. G. That was one hell of a game. And both players played extremely well, as you can definitely tell. I look forward to what they're doing later, or I actually know what they're doing. So, like, yeah, that's funny. Here we have Frescado versus Funny Man, and I'm actually going to read something that Plausible said. Because he said this in the council when he was, what's it called? When, like, the council were giving me, like, highlights for the tournament. There were a few things to note from Funny Man versus Frescado. Funny Man was the Dark Horse in terms of how he did. He managed to defeat a council member at clutching this game against Frescado, someone who is very skilled in its own right. If you need commentary on it, one notable misplay was when oh, by the way, for those of you who don't remember, in the last tournament, Funny Man beat Zack and Theus, and spoiler alert, he will do very well against Frescado, but let's get back to this. Or actually, I'll just give you the rest of the commentary later. Let's just get straight into the match, alright? We have Weed Starmie versus Weed Executor. I couldn't even tell you which one has a better chance this time. The answer is Starmie because you missed the Sweet Powder. There's Blizzard, no Freeze, they go in the Gastrodon, you go for Thunderbolt, which Gastrodon eats very easily. Go in the Ludicolo. Now this Gastrodon's forced to switch out, and with Starmie also here, Razor Leaf seems like it's pretty good. There's Executor, but you also have Blizzard, do not worry. Double Edge is going to do some good damage, but now it is, I'm pretty sure, in Blizzard range. Now there's a critical Blizzard, does like a somewhat decent amount to Starmie, I guess, but Ludicolo gets frozen, that is huge. Now you go straight into Raichu, there's Chansey, you go for going straight into Palisand, you get hit with Psychic, that's gonna hit pretty hard. You go back into Executor, you use another Psychic, I appreciate that and respect that play. Go for another Psychic, trying to go for that special drop, you don't get it. Raichu's put to sleep, but it's a pretty decent sleep sack. So there's back into Starmie, you go for Blizzard. Blizzard will hit the Chansey, or no, it won't, it'll miss. You go straight and back into Gastrodon. They have Ludicolo, but it's frozen now, so now they have to go into Tauros. There's Amnesia. There's Body Slam. Though getting the Paralysis, that's nice. But Surface a 2 KO, you're in big damage, but you stay in. They go to Recover. You stay in again, going for Hyper Beam. You don't get the kill, unfortunately, but they're fully paralyzed. But because of the full paralysis, ooh, it's so unfortunate. Go for another Hyper Beam. You get the crit, killing the Gastrodon. Go into Starmie. Starmie outspeeds your Force Switch. You go into Chansey, eats the Surf very, very, very easily. They go into Executor. Executor is now paralyzed. You can go into like that. Executor switches, that's fine. They go into Starmie, you go for Double Edge, getting decent chip. Now you can just do whatever the hell you want. Go into Chansey, they miss another Blizzard. They go into Executor. Following the switch, and you go for Ice Beam. Executor's now almost dead. You go for another Ice Beam. That's decent, or I think that's considered decent chip for Snorlax. There's Starmie. They go into Chansey. They eat the Surf very easily. They're probably going to switch out here, so you just go straight into Soft Boiled. Might as well keep the Chansey healthy. It's doing very well here. Go on the Executor. You're in Hyper Beam range, but do they have it? Yes, they do, but they missed. Explosion almost kills the Snorlax. You go into Tauros. They're going to Starmie. You go for Body Slam. You don't get the paralysis. Oh, no, you do get the paralysis. So now Tauros is just looking so incredibly threatening here. Nothing really wants to deal with it. except for your own Tauros. But you have, what's it called? Yeah, you had Palisand for that. They go into Blizzard, gets a crit on the Zapdos, so that's very bad. Another Blizzard does not get the kill. You go for Thunder Wave, Zapdos coming in clutch. You go for Thunderbolt, you do really good damage here. Body Slam will get the crit, definitely needed. You go back into Palisand, getting any chip or healing, that helps you a lot here. There's Blizzard, but you survive. You go for another Shore Up, you're just trying to fish for some RNG, such as that. Go straight into Psychic. Blizzard does not get the, it gets the crit finally. You go into Tauros, Body Slam kills here. Raichu's still healthy, but it's a sweep, so it doesn't really matter. You have Earthquake, yes you do. Raichu is taken out. And everything gets revenge killed here. So this Tauros came in so clutch, despite being at such low HP. You love to see it. So that was Funny Man's game. Now let me reread what Paul said. There were a few things to note from it. Funny Man was a dark horse in terms of how he did, managing to defeat a council member and clutching this game against Riscado, someone who is fairly skilled in their own right. If you need commentary on it, one notable misplay was on turn 19, when Funny Man banked on a Troll's crit Hyper Beam and didn't get it. Riscado's Gastrodon was paralyzed and left at 38% with +2 amnesia. Instead of killing the Tauros with Surf, he opted to use Recover again. Riscado froze the Wootico already, so it was basically dead. The rest of Funny Man's revealed team didn't have the means to really take down a +2 Gastrodon on Riscado's end. Executor could have taken it with a Boom, but trading your Gastrodon for both a Tauros and Executor would have been a fantastic trade for Riscado. Even if Funny Man had something like a Solid Spike on the back as a consistent edge to the Gastrodon, Riscado could have forced Funny Man to reveal all of his Pokemon while having 2 unrevealed. It's a pretty crucial misplay that likely cost him the match. It ended with Tauros finishing its recharge and getting the crit Hyper Beam it needed. The game wasn't unrecoverable as Riscado was making up for the lost momentum until he got some bad luck. Hyper Beam missed on Kitoni Eggy, for example. It's also interesting, it's another example of getting complacent with Amnesia setup can backfire horribly in Gen 1. I didn't even realize he made that misplay, but that is 100% true. Like, holy shit. Either way, though, GG's the Funny Man. Like, he was the person I ended up facing in round 3. And I can tell you right now, it was terrifying. That is all I'm gonna say. Funny Man's actually one of the better players in this server, despite him not interacting much. Now we have Plausible versus Second Thieves in Losers Bracket. These two had a pretty funny thing going on, where for all 3 of their matches, they agreed to use 2 Pokemon from OU, 2 from UU, NU, and some new ones, pretty sure that's how it worked. If you'd like to see the full match, be sure to go, to the server and watch it yourself. And the link to the link to the Discord server is in all of the descriptions of my videos. So what do you check right now? The first thing you'll see in big capital letters, Draw My Discord, that's where you join it. But let's get into this, shall we? We have Lead Hypno versus Lead Hip. Wait, hold on a second, this is already just... Holy crap, this is hilarious. This is already beautiful. I don't know what to tell you guys. How does Cyber... Stop using my meme pic. Don't cook, please. Oh, amazing. Man, I think Tournament already peaked here, not gonna lie. Switching into Tapu Bulu. Nature's Madness cuts Hypno's HP in half. You love to see it. Hyper Beam, we don't know if it kills because they went for Sword Stance. Sidekick does not kill. Hyper Beam does kill, obviously. But I would have been curious to see how Anon did. Anon, like Sword Stance Boost did. Both of them have Jolteon, however, so they are very evenly matched. Going into Sand Slash, eating that paralysis very easily. Going straight into Articuno. Second, he has tried to cook and get a free Sword Stance, but it didn't work out. There's Blizzard. Lapras tanks it very, very easily. Thunderbolt kills Tapu Bulu. You go into your Starmie, which can paralyze the Lapras, but Thunderbolt, it's still very annoying. Thunderbolt is a 3-hit KO. Which Starmie isn't paralyzed, so you're probably going to win this exchange, but you never know. You can be very unlucky sometimes. I would probably switch into Jolteon though, if that's just me. They go into Woody Kobo. They go for another recover. Razor Wave should do good damage here, but obviously they knew that, so they just went for Sword Stance instead. Going back in the Lapras, because that easily tanks the Articuno. And if they go for something else, like a Jolteon, Blizzard does a lot of damage. Overall, Lapras is just looking really good. Jolteon goes for Rest. There's Sand Slash. So you go for Rock Slide. No, you go for Body Slam. That's actually probably better. Although Sand Slash has Slash, I would always recommend using that instead. Back in the Hypno, Possible goes. You go for Sword Stance here. No, you just go for another Razor Wave. Articuno takes it very easily, unfortunately. You go into Starmie. You go back into Lapras. A Psychic will hit pretty hard. You do get the Special Drop. And fully paralyzed, so you're forced to switch. Go into Woody Kobo, but now the Starmie is extremely threatening. There's not much that can really switch into it anymore. You go for Rest. You're healing up. You go back into Sand Slash because you can't really risk them like switching getting set up. You go for Body Slam. You don't get the paralysis, it looks like. You get hit with a Psychic, which 2 KOs you. Earthquake kills, fortunately. But at this point, you've already taken so much damage. Woody Koa gets hit with a critical Blizzard, so overall there's just a lot of things that are going wrong for Zacanthias. There's Psychic killing you off. You go back into Lapras, but this is just not going well. You are probably going to die. No crit. You're technically in the game, but that special drop is just awful. You miss Sing. So, and the crit definitely mattered. Jolteon's here, but you have your own Jolteon in the back that can't even get paralyzed. You can sit on this Jolteon all day. You don't care to your sleep. You will wake up in time. And you can paralyze the Jolteon yourself. You go back into Articuno. They go for Body Slam. Still no paralysis. Oh no, you do get the paralysis finally. It looks like no Rock Slide. There's Blizzard. But yeah, like, you can stay in here. There's no reason not to. Go back into Jolteon. There's Thunderbolt. You get the crit, but we know you have Rest. They go into Sand Slash. You go for Thunder Wave. Doesn't do much. I would imagine you sack off the Articuno here. Yes, you do. Body Slam does get the kill. You go into Starmie. Blizzard kills Sand Slash. They go back into Jolteon. You go into your own Jolteon. No reason why not to. You can probably like paralyze it as well. So even if you die here, you're in a great position. Jolteon is now paralyzed. You go for Rest. And I'm gonna give you guys a secret. Quaz has his win con in the back still. Kangaskhan. Let's go, baby. Kangaskhan for the win. That's now 2 Kangaskhan's in this video. Now, last Pokemon is Fearow, but unfortunately Fearow is just not going to do much here. But I still think it's cool they're using Fearow in the first place. Drill Peck does practically nothing, Hyper Beam kills, and there we go. Alright, 2 more matches and then we are done. Alright, let's see here. Which one is this again? This is... Oh, I forgot I already went over Cyber DJ versus Tina. We don't need to go over that. The last one is Melonwood versus Convex. Now, because Aris got disqualified after they beat Gemstone, they got, we had to replace him with Convex, who was actually very eager for this season. So, let's just get right into it. Ignore the dogs. I apologize for the dogs in the back. For those of you who don't know, I'm actually doxing right now. So, let's just get right into it. There's Executor, and... Oh my god. Hush up! Again, I apologize. Anyway, so where are we? Oh yeah. Chansey gets put to sleep, gets hit with a special drop. That sucks. There's Vanillux. Vanillux takes bodies or Double Edge very easily. Going in the Raichu, well, Blizzard hits hard, but harder than, or not as hard as I would have expected. There's Palossand, there's Surf, does about like 2 KO most likely. Raichu gets taken out. They go into Sawsbuck, you go into Chansey, Hornleech does practically nothing. But who cares, because Double Edge will do more than enough to kill this Chansey, since Convex stays in. Even getting some healing in, so that's nice. There's Vanillux. Vanillux gets paralyzed. Blizzard kills the Sawsbuck very easily. They go into Tauros. Body Slam will do good damage. You go for Blizzard, gets good damage as well. Hyper Beam kills. You go into Palossand. Blizzard gets the crit, you're taken out. Convex is doing horrible right now. There's Executor, which Honestly, like, normally I would say you don't care about this, but with Double Edge and with it being so low on Pokemon, it is just not going well for you if you're a Convex. You're trying to go for Sword Sand, because that's like the only real way you can catch up, but even then, no, it's just not happening. You get taken out, you only have 2 Pokemon left. There's Raichu. Doesn't even kill the Executor, goes for Boom. You have 1 Pokemon left. It's your Tauros versus Snorlax, and you're probably gonna lose. A critical body slam is nice, but it's a Reflectalax, so now... yeah, it's just over. The game's just over. Trying to go for a crit, you don't get it, there's Body Slam. So now, you just die. I'm apologize for the ending being kinda rushed. But hopefully you enjoy Season 2. I'll be doing a video on either Losers Bracket or Round 3. I don't know which is next. But until next time, this is Groundback, and I look forward to hearing from you. Also, be able to, like, comment down, like, that you really like my dogs. Because, like I said, I'm dog sitting, and literally in my server, I've been posting videos of them. So, yeah, check that out. I appreciate it.